The other day, a client of mine asked me a question about how to maintain your frame when women are being flaky or if they're slow to respond over text. He asked me about a girl who hasn't been texting him back, and he wanted to know what was a socially savvy way to deal with that because he found it very hard to not take it personal, especially as from a girl who he's known for a longer time. He knows that it's a common thing that girls do, but he said that he'd much rather have a girl say, "Hey, I'm not interested," instead of just wasting his time, wasting his night, just waiting around for her. And let me tell you, long ago when I had zero clue about women and social skills, I made sure that I would answer every text or call that I got no matter what. I thought it was very important and I felt very proud of being reliable. It really bothered me when people didn't respond back, when people left me on read. Like my client that I mentioned earlier, I couldn't understand why some people wouldn't reply back. I thought it was very impolite and unacceptable. I think, hey, it only takes 10 seconds to send a text back, or it only takes 10 minutes to return a phone call. I took it very personal when people didn't respond back to me, but now I see things differently. Sometimes I don't even notice if someone, especially a girl, hasn't replied back to me until much later or maybe even never. And despite my earlier commitment to always having to respond, I don't always do it anymore. Maybe now I respond back about 85% to 95% of the time. It's not a strict rule for me. I changed because I realized something. I'll explain why I see things differently now and why I don't chase women with messages or calls anymore and why I don't always reply when people chase me. Even though I'm not as reliable as I used to be and don't always reply quickly, I still try my best to be dependable. I think it's important for a man to be responsive. Now, I often get messages from girls who want to meet up. There are girls I've met before who say they'll be in town and that they want to see me. Some are girls I've hung out with before who say that they miss me and they wonder why I'm not on social media as much anymore. Well, there are two reasons. First, I'm really busy. I work long hours every day. I try to balance my social life and I'm falling behind on things that I need to do. I can't spend another few hours every day replying to everyone, including girls who want to hang out or just have a conversation over text. Second, I've realized that some of these girls want my time but don't give much in return. Before, I'll go for any girl who seemed interested in me, but now, even if a cute girl is really into me, if she doesn't fit into my schedule or I'm not really into her, we might not meet up. But here's the thing, I can't tell people this because it sounds rude. I'm not trying to be rude. I feel bad when a girl texts me all excited and I don't reply because I'm busy or lazy, and then I forget she messaged me until weeks later. Before, when I didn't have as much options with girls, it was more like, a girl messaged me? Heck yeah, yay! And I'd reply back right away. Now I see another message from a girl and I'm like, another one? What am I gonna do? The funny thing is, girls do this to guys as well. They ignore messages or reply back way later. They feel overwhelmed by all the guys chasing after them, and I never really understood this until recently. I mean, I knew about it, but I never experienced it myself. You have to be in the situation to understand and empathize with what's going on in someone else's head, and empathy is super important for maintaining frame. Let me remind you about how a woman's attraction changes over time as she gets to know a man. I talked about this in my latest video, Attraction Has a Deadline, and I'll pin it up above. Here's a rough idea of how attraction changes over time when a man doesn't sleep with a woman right away. When a girl knows you for a long time, but you don't become her sexual partner, her attraction for you goes down. At first, a girl is attracted to you and then her attraction grows. But if you don't become her sexual partner, her attraction declines and declines. There's something deep in a woman's brain that makes her think, this guy isn't used to being with women. He might not be good at being with women. Therefore, he won't give me sons that are good with women. So, he might not be a good choice for a mate. To a woman, this feels like, he's nice, but I'm not that excited about him anymore. I was excited when I first met him, but now he's just a nice guy. Maybe we can be friends. And as time passes, her excitement and sexual interest in a man decrease rapidly. Here's what it means for the man. She won't be as eager to reply back to his texts, calls, or DMs. She won't be as interested in seeing him anymore, and she'll start to disappear from his life. And this is where she starts to realize his true sexual market value and then labels him as an unconfident guy and as a guy with zero intent because he did not make a move quickly enough. And this makes him seem as a guy who is not desirable anymore. And then the girl loses interest. As a guy, this is super frustrating and confusing because he'll think, why did she disappear? I don't understand. Then he starts chasing after her to make things right. And this often happens without the guy even realizing it. He then forgets the rule of don't chase women or maintain frame, and then there he goes and he starts chasing them instead. I heard a good example of this from a girl that I spoke with a while back. She talked about some guys who have been chasing her for over a year. And we talked about one guy who would always hold her bags when they would go out shopping. And this girl said that this guy first ignored her when they first met. And because of that, she liked him and she tried to get his attention. She talked to him and flirted with him. She really wanted to date this guy. But what did he end up doing? He started spending more time with her. He started texting her and doing things with her, but they never became lovers. They never slept with each other. And with time, that girl just saw him as a friend. If you spend a lot of time with a girl doing friend stuff, but never make a move, she'll see you as just a friend. She'll see you as just a girlfriend. Most guys who end up as friends with girls don't have many women in their lives. They take things slow because they don't want to mess things up with the girl that they like. They think that they're the only man in her life. But it's different for most women, especially if they're pretty and sociable. They have many men chasing after them, so they have to categorize guys quickly. A guy who tries to take her home right away goes into the lovers category. A guy who wines and dines her goes into the boyfriend category. And a guy who talks to her and does friend stuff and does all these little sissy things with her goes into the friends category. Or I might give him a chance when I'm old and I'm ready to be taken off the streets category. So I was talking to that girl about rewarding people sometimes, but not all the time, and how it creates attachment. She mentioned that that guy still sends her messages asking her how she is, but she usually just ignores them. But sometimes she replies, and then he gets all happy and relieved. When she said this, it reminded me of when girls used to do this to me. At the end of the day, if a girl likes you, she's gonna respond back to your messages. But that dude keeps chasing after this girl, not realizing that me and her have been intimate with each other for months. She keeps him on the back burner because she feels bad for ignoring him, and she likes having guys just chase after her. She will tell me, everyone likes feeling chased, and she's right. Everyone wants to feel chased after. It feels good, but look, she's not that manipulative. She genuinely cares about people and, she's honest. But until you experience it, not just being pursued by anyone, but by desirable women, it's hard to understand that feeling. The feeling of power, security, and validation that you're an awesome person. When I realized what was happening, that women kept guys around for safety, emotional support, or just someone to hang out with, I decided I didn't like the idea of being kept on hold by a girl. I didn't want to be the guy that they wanted to go shopping with, or the guy that would join them for the movies. If I didn't sleep with the girl after 2 dates, I usually just moved on. Nowadays, if it doesn't happen on the first date, it's unlikely to happen at all, even if she tries to get another chance with me. Because most girls these days do try for another chance with me after the first date, even if we don't end up sleeping together. But I usually don't give them that next chance because I prefer to focus on more promising options, or I'd rather save my time and focus on my business for you guys. But before I got to this point, I went through a tough, weak moment a while back after a long-term relationship. And I tried the traditional nice guy, friend, chasing a girl thing, thinking that it was gonna work, but it didn't go as well. I spent a lot of time and effort on one girl thinking we would end up together. I helped her get a job, I pulled her out of depression, and I rebuilt her social life. But despite all this, we didn't go beyond the whole making out stuff, even after trying many times. And guess what? I found out she was going on dates with the other dudes. And I was mad. I was like, wait, what? This girl that I basically did everything for? It was a huge wake-up call. And I finally understood what nice guys go through on a daily basis. And this was a huge knock on the face for me. So I told her I must have misunderstood our situation. I backed off and I focused on dating other girls. And then she started chasing me hard. And what's funny is that after a month of not paying any attention to her, she called me all desperately, wanting to talk and wondering how I've been. But I told her that I couldn't talk because I had a girl coming over. And she seemed shocked that I just wasn't interested in her anymore. I guess guys didn't do that to her. Fast forward a few months later, I get a random text from her, kind of like a smoke signal to want to hang out again. I remember when we would hang out, I would play music by this artist named Jason Mraz, and there's this one song in particular which was a favorite of mine called I'm Yours. And she texted me, "Hey, I'm Yours just came on the radio and it made me think of you." Man, that one hit because I knew what she was doing. I knew she was trying to see if she still had any kind of leash or power over me. But I shot her attempt down because by that point, I wasn't interested in her anymore. I guess she finally took notice of all the value that I provided to her life, that she really, really felt my absence. And it felt good to reject her. It was like, that's what you get for not realizing that the best thing in your life, aka me, was all about you. But you ruined it. You tagged me along. You friend zoned me. But then again, I didn't know much about the game at this point. I was still an absolute beginner with a lot of beta male tendencies still. But here, I was still at a point in my journey of getting better with women that I took this experience as a valuable lesson, and I told myself that I won't invest heavily in a girl's life unless we're already having sex with each other. If you become too valuable to a girl before that, she might not want to risk losing you for something like physical intimacy, like a one night stand. In her mind, she's afraid that you may not want to talk to her afterwards, so that's why she will hold back. And this is why you don't provide anything to her until you're actually sleeping with her. So here are 6 rules to follow until both of you are intimate lovers. Number 1, you don't spend a lot of time on her. Number 2, you don't spend a lot of money on her. Number 3, you don't talk a lot to her. Number 4, you don't do a lot of things with her. Number 5, you don't try to help her too much. And number 6, you don't try to fix her life. Afterward, if you're both committed to each other sexually, then sure, you can invest time, money, and effort into the relationship. But trying to prove yourself of what a great boyfriend that you could be by doing the opposite of those 6 rules, well, that's just gonna backfire on you, and she will keep you as a friend so that she can keep extracting all of your value without having her give up sex. And this is exactly what I would do. I would give her so much, I'd buy her things, and I'd give her all of my attention, thinking, oh, if I spend a lot of time talking and texting with her, she will think that I really care about her, and then we'll get together. But no, it doesn't work that way. Again, she's not gonna wanna risk losing all that you can provide by having to sleep with you. Because again, what if she sleeps with you and let's say you don't wanna see her again, then she's gonna miss out on a lot of free things from you in the future in the form of attention, favors, and gifts. But here's the main takeaway on this. Chasing women often sabotages your chances because it removes the challenge that they crave and makes you seem too available. Chasing after a girl is often a bad idea. Once you start chasing, things usually don't go well. It's one of the most poisonous things that you can do to yourself. If you don't agree with me, then ask yourself this: how many girls have you chased after, constantly calling and texting, begging for dates? And how many of them did you actually end up sleeping with or date? Probably none of them. So why do guys keep doing it? Well, because chasing is kind of like a reflex. You can't really control it. It's what people do when they really want something, but they can't have it. But here's the thing: the more you chase, the more obsessed you become. Whether it's chasing a job or a school or a girl, the more effort you put in, the more you want it. In the beginning of meeting a girl, okay, you just like her. But then if you chase, this like turns into wanting this girl badly. And then that turns into you becoming crazy over this girl. You don't want to get to that point because then you become blind to so many things because your emotions are in full control over you. So instead of chasing women, keep it simple because it is only going to kill their attraction for you. So here are 7 tips that I want you to do instead. Number 1, use texting to mainly set up dates. Number 2, don't use texting or calling to try to get to know the girl. You want to sell yourself in person, not over the phone. Number 3, if she's in your social circle, take her out of it. Hang out where it's just the two of you together. Number 4, go on a date with girls shortly after meeting them and move fast. And number 5, aim to sleep with her on the first date. Why? Because the longer you wait, the less likely it is to happen. There's a good chance something may happen, like she meets another dude or she moves away, and then if that happens, there will be no chance for a second date. Also, it is way more likely that a girl sleeps with you on the first date compared to the second date and even the third date. And yes, This is true with the conservative girls as well, because they will sleep with you on the first date if you know what you are doing. Look, man, I've hooked up with girls who were super religious and grew up in happy families on the first date. And I've also hooked up with girls who have daddy issues. There's zero difference in how they respond. And a side note on this is that you don't want to ask a girl, like, hey, do you want to sleep with me? Because most of the time she's going to say no. And before you say, girls won't sleep with me on the first date, well, how many times have you actually tried doing it all the way on the first date? Number 6, have a cutoff point. If things aren't progressing after a few dates, move on. For me, my absolute cutoff is date number 2. After that, I'm done with her. But let's say for you, your cutoff date can be 3 dates. Well, if that's the case, you actually have had to try to get her home on that first and second date as well. Don't be like, oh, it's the third date and we didn't hook up. Guess I'll write her off now. When in reality, you never even tried to sleep with her on those first 2 dates. Number 7, make exceptions only for truly exceptional cases. So if I'm really into a girl and I think she'd make a good friends with benefits or a potential girlfriend, I'm willing to go past my second date cutoff and see her for the third time. But I'm not gonna go out and do the whole date thing again. Instead, I will straight up invite her to my home. I'll tell her, hey, I'm super busy with work and I honestly don't have the time to leave the house. I could, though, keep it laid back and you can swing on by and we'll cook some food, we'll order a pizza, keep it chill, and watch something funny. This right here will screen out the girls who are just looking to use you for attention or just wanted you as a friend. But the ones that actually do like you, the ones that are pretty much looking for a dominant man to take her to bed, well, with both of those kind of girls, she's gonna say yes to this invite. Having clear rules like these can help you stay calm. It will get your dating life headed in the right direction and it will improve your results. You're gonna get more sexual experiences, you're gonna get high quality girls, and you're gonna get the girls that you want. But wait, you might be thinking, how does being this aggressive and assertive help get you the girls that you want? Won't they be scared off by this? While that is completely understandable, I want you to listen to this. Think back to a time when you met a girl that you really, really liked. She was beautiful, she had a great personality, she had everything that you wanted in a girl. So, what did you do? You took things really, really, really slow so that you wouldn't mess things up. And what ended up happening? You didn't get her. Her attraction for you faded away. She stopped responding to your messages and she pretty much ended up ghosting you. So, why does having a simplified process like this help you get the girls that you want? Because at the end of the day, the very beautiful girls and the girls with great personalities and the very conservative girls and the girls with daddy issues to the girls from the small towns to the girls that are from the city, well, they are all still girls. They all respond to the exact same stuff. They all want a man who will take action on what he wants. A man is going to make things happen. And the guys who are too afraid to take action, well, those guys, she's just going to put them in the friend zone. Well, they'll end up chasing her for months or even years until they just give up and find a new girl to chase after. Don't be one of those guys. Don't chase women and stop taking things slow for that one special girl. Because after a certain time of you two knowing each other, she will be long gone. And trying to win her back is like trying to regain a job offer that slipped away because you hesitated too long to act. Maybe if you constantly reach out to the company, they might reconsider hiring you, but realistically, the chances are super slim. It's the same with the girl. If you're super persistent in chasing after her, it might lead to her eventually agreeing to date you, but it's very, very unlikely. I know it's tough to hear, man. You've invested a lot of time and effort into pursuing her, only to find out she's moved on and only sees you as a friend. Or maybe she sees you as someone that she's already conquered. Or maybe she just, she's just keeping you around in her safety net just in case things don't work out when she gets older. But here's the hopeful part. There are plenty of other women that you'll meet in your life, and you have the opportunity to do things differently next time. Just like missing out on a job, it doesn't mean you'll never find another one. So, missing your chance with a woman now doesn't mean you won't get another chance with another woman because now you know what to do. All right. The key is to recognize opportunities and act fast. That's what separates the guys who end up as friends from those who become lovers, boyfriends, and much more.